And welcome to the Raw Review. I'm Adam Wilbourn from WhatCulture, joined by all the Dudley boys, Michael Hamflett from WhatCulture to review everything that happened on last night's episode of Man and Now Raw. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube, where we do daily wrestling podcasts where we not only review Man and Now Raw, but also SmackDown. Show formerly known as NXT 2. Oh! Down about AW Collision pay-per-views, premium live events. We have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a round we complete the quiz, of course, on WrestleCulture. As I said, though, joined by Michael Hamflett to review Monday Night Raw a little bit later than usual. Do apologise for that one, but it will be worth the wait because what a show this was.
Raw of the year, maybe. I know, like, we're prone to recency bias and hyperbole and anything we can to get your clicks, basically, but not since WrestleMania where, like, the Chicago Raw jumps out because of the multiple cool segments. Certain weeks where there were significant developments in, for example, the Punk and Drew story, because it's just been great all year. There have been shows where Cody Rhodes, when he was still on Raw, was just every week, almost guaranteeing you one of the best promos you were going to see in pro wrestling. And yet this one was great for an entirely different slate of reasons. This was a high-pressure episode in that it had to follow up on a SummerSlam that had all those developments and payoffs and like storyline progression moments that we talked about in the review that just, if you're into this, we acknowledge this. If you're not, then maybe SummerSlam wasn't for you. But if you are, SummerSlam was absolutely for you and then some. The pressure was on this Raw to follow up. And it didn't just follow up. It kind of rewarded you again.
Yeah.
It made you feel like, SummerSlam that you thought was absolutely good and had all those cool developments, that was actually just the build-up to tonight's Monday Night Raw. And have I not always said this, right? Wrestling has to lie and cheat and steal, I guess, your money and take it from you every single week. You've got to build up to every single show like it is the end of the world.
Yes.
It's this idea that, like, SummerSlam's coming. Well, whole world ends on Saturday. You better be there. If you're not there, you've missed the end of the world. Who wants to miss the end of the world? Nobody. And then right as the show's coming to the end, it's like, tune in Monday because we're thinking the end of the world's coming. And then the cycle repeats every single week again and again and again and again. And in reality, of course, it's impossible to keep up that rate, that hit rate and that sort of pace of programming and storyline development and all that. And the idea is to try and find a balance where you never feel ripped off and you always feel like your investment is being rewarded. Here, they have delivered two ends of the world. And, oh, look, Roman Reigns is back on Friday.
Yeah.
This is maybe the best. Again, high as a kite on Raw, recency bias. Right now, this feels maybe like a new kind of peak for Triple H's WWE because we are not.
Especially this time of the year.
That's it, right? We're not dealing with The Rock. We're not dealing with the WrestleMania build. We're not dealing with the who's going to win the Royal Rumble, traditionally the highest stake things. We are dealing with the time of year. Let us not forget that in 2017/2018, Chris Jericho filled in Vince McMahon on everything that was happening around All In. And his one thing was, I mean, you're mad to run it at that time of year. Traditionally soft time for the industry. And obviously All In proved him completely wrong and senile for the 100 millionth time at that point. Pay-per-view was a dead model. That was
they used to just be like, well, there was SummerSlam. See you in November.
Basically. And even then, you should have built to November and they didn't.
Yeah.
It was just like, well, you put your red shirts on, you put your blue shirts on, and let's kill the night. This felt like the start of, like, well, I've been calling it Fed Hot American Summer because how great the build to SummerSlam has been. We're going to have to land on one for, well, it's certainly not a fall.
No.
Well, nothing rhymes with autumn. But, like, the point is, it's going to be class.
Yeah. I think we were a bit all over the place yesterday because obviously we had to do the SummerSlam review and preview Monday Night Raw and stuff. And a lot of the Raw preview was to deal with what happened at SummerSlam. But I think we could have sat here for many, many more hours and we would have not have predicted two of the big things that happened. The two huge surprises that kind of came out of nowhere on this show.
That's a really good point because I think if you listen to our Raw preview yesterday, there were a couple of things that we nailed. But that would typically be enough. You know, predictable is good. We say that, right? Like if you've been instructed to look for clues and spot things, and sometimes it's breadcrumbs, sometimes it's WWE and it's completely on the nose. But nonetheless, if you've been encouraged to invest in stuff, when you get those payoffs and when you get those moments, you should see them coming. Maybe the when is the surprise, ultimately, rather than the how or the why. We got all of those. And then, as you say, brand new stuff that in a million years we wouldn't have imagined would have even occurred, let alone gone as well as it did.
One person we'd arguably written off.
Yeah. Like, not arguably.
And another one that we've completely forgotten about, if I'm honest.
There's a moment on here, the best moment of the entire show, features somebody that I had maybe cruelly on a podcast said, I just don't think there's a place for him on Monday Night Raw. And he's stolen half the headlines from this episode. He's stolen half the headlines from a show that featured a follow-up to one of the biggest matches of the year and a main event match that was one of the most hotly anticipated for basically walking a tightrope as if an entire act just collapses within itself, and instead like became the 5th, 6th success story on this Raw. Honestly, like this, I hope that we remember at the end of the year this Raw as a show of the year contender, because I just feel like TV shows in general don't tend to, you remember the moments rather than the actual shows. As 3 hours, I can't remember the last time WWE produced something with so much quality.
So the show opened with a big recap, of course, of SummerSlam. And
already got it then.
And then who's in the ring? But of course, Ludwig, Kaiser. I always love his demanding all of our gratitude for the ring general, the new world heavyweight champion, Gunther, who comes out suited and booted with the title. He hugs Kaiser, holds the belt up, the fireworks go off. And he says, my name is Gunther. I'm the ring general. I'm the longest reigning intercontinental champion in history. I'm the king of the ring. And now I am your world heavyweight champion. And if you thought my historic IC title reign was historic, that's what I said. Just wait to see what I do as world heavyweight champion. I'm above everyone in this ring. No one can catch me, and no one and nothing can catch me off guard. I am greatness personified from this day forth. For Raw, the legacy of this sport, the world title, it all belongs to me. And who interrupts him but Randy Orton? Who could have seen this coming?
Another win for another dub for the OTJ.
On True Journalist, baby. And Gunther did admit he was wrong because that caught him off guard. Yeah. And Orton says he wants to come and congratulate Gunther, but that's not really his style. The title looks mighty fine hanging off his shoulders. He says he's a good-looking champion. So,
agree. I mean, I agree, but it's not like I look anything like him anymore. I think we swapped bodies.
But he realises that Orton is the reason that Gunther is holding that title in the first place. Obviously, Gunther beat Orton at King of the Ring, but did he really? You know, we all know it. Even Triple H knows it, says Orton. His shoulders weren't flat on the mat. Yes, it's the ref's decision. He gets it. He's been here long enough. But Triple H has seen the footage, and Triple H, along with everyone else, knows that it needs to be a Gunther versus Orton sequel. That's why he's here tonight. He's calling that in. He's the only one, says Orton, in the locker room that can match him. Technician versus technician, smooth versus smoother. These fans...
He's talking about their swimmer bodies.
Yes. In fact, these fans deserve a modern-day Flair versus Steamboat. He knows he can be one, but can Gunther be the other? He's a living legend. That's fine, because Orton's made a career out of killing legends. And at Bash in Berlin, he'll do it again, and he'll walk out of Gunther's home country the new champion. And Gunther did admit that not beating Orton clean left a stain in his record. But the voices in Orton's head are wrong if they're telling him that he could beat him in Berlin. He accepts Orton's challenge. They shake hands, and the mics go, but you hear Gunther as he pulls him in close saying, nothing's going to catch me out of nowhere. And Orton's like, I'm fine with that. I want you to see it coming.
Oh, my God.
Button,
oh, my God.
Button for the whole fucking segment. Oh, my God. What a bit of business this was. Where to even start putting this over, right? Continuity. I think it's going to be key to the analysis of this episode because there was tons of it out the ass. As you pointed out in the preview yesterday, Randy Orton was kind of always owed his match against Gunther, and why would he not take it when there was a title to be fought for rather than just having a rematch? Gunther winning the belt at SummerSlam, along with Nia Jax, put over the King and Queen of the Ring as a prize worth winning. Mm-hmm. And if it's a stipulation, as it should be next year, that you want to win this tournament, it's not just a crown, it's a chance at the title, and look how well it went for the champions last year. Whether by accident or by design, they created a perfect challenger in Randy Orton. Of course, he's on SmackDown, so there's maybe something to work out there, which I feel like they will give you next week. I think Postman Pierce will say Randy Orton called and asked, and I thought, yes, that's a fantastic Paley main event. That's who I want my champion to face.
But now you can also have someone jump from Raw to challenge for the SmackDown title.
Offering the SmackDown GM a bit of a trade, which could come in very handy as we move into Bloodline Civil War season. They've held on to those trade things before, haven't they? And then they've sort of done, it was Kevin Owens was the last one.
Yeah.
And then he finally appeared as this trade. So Randy Orton for a month getting a go at Gunther is terrific for the Randy Orton character because he gets his vindication for feeling screwed out the King of the Ring, and he tries everything in his power to not turn on Cody Rhodes, because that's where it's still going. He was eyeballing that title. He was remembering who he was, and he was remembering that he was a legend killer, and he wanted to be a world champion again. And he was starting to get the itch for, I'm sorry, Cody, I'm going to have to kick you in the head. But this has proven the perfect distraction. He's not going to beat Gunther, right?
Yeah, as long as he wins the World Heavyweight title, that's not going to happen.
I'd have to kill you, Cody, and then he fails to win the title. Oh, well, it looks like I'm left having to turn on you, right? So that's great for the Randy Orton character. Gunther couldn't have been better in his first night as world champion. We knew he was going to look the part. Quite frankly, after the promos he's been cutting for the last year or so, we knew he was going to be able to like walk and talk the part as well.
Yeah, I was watching this thinking, well, I'm going to settle in for a good few months, if not a year of this.
Yes. Like all the way around, Gunther feels like he was kind of somehow like born to play this role as the world champion. Maybe that IC title run was necessary to get him there, but that's what booking is ultimately. So he's perfect for the spot. It doesn't feel like, it already feels like he's held the title 500 days.
Yeah.
Never mind the record is about to break, or the record is going to try and break. It feels like he's already done it, and that this was inevitable, and we could dread it and run from it. But here we are, Gunther's world champion. What was the last point I wanted to make on this? Yeah, he's from Austria, but like they're going to build Berlin as, you know, like a sort of, it's Drew in Cardiff, isn't it? Basically, like it's close enough,
close to his backyard.
Yeah, where like there's going to be fans that are going to be with Gunther, and we talked about potential situational heels. Randy Orton, turning on, being the Viper, being the legend killer, being like just the nastiest, slimiest, like cynical version of himself in that match. In this 2024 version of himself, seems perfect.
And the ideal person as well for, because who we talking about Drew yesterday?
Yeah.
Where it's like, it's kind of difficult to book Drew versus Gunther because they're both heels. But no, in Berlin, obviously Gunther would be received as
you
a
want to flip it
babyface.
on the night rather than in the build, yeah.
But then again, if you'd done that, there's going to be people watching that going, come on, Drew, you want to win the title. And there will be still people supporting Randy Orton, but he doesn't need this. They know they're talking about breaking records and 15 title reigns or whatever, world title reign, right? Everyone, for the most part, obviously everyone in the arena, but everyone watching will be thinking, I want Gunther to retain here. I want this to be sort of a long run. So that kick out, that RKO out of nowhere is going to have people going, no, that's what you need from that sort of match, because it's a given that he's probably going to retain. I don't think that detail is for nothing, by the way, as well. I think Randy Orton is going to, maybe, for example, Gunther swings a chop and Orton just does duck and immediately springs on his heels and it's RKO. So it's like right face front. I think that are not going to get you out of nowhere. And Gunther being arrogant enough to think, I do not need to worry about my counter game when it comes to the RKO. I think that's going to feature heavily in the match. Or if he goes up top. For his big splash. Yeah. And then Jesus. Like, oh my God. Press the button again.
Oh my God.
So that's just the one segment taken care of, yeah?
Yeah.
I loved it. Can't wait for the match. A proper main event, a proper win for Gunther, like to get on the board as world champion. Love this. And the booking made sort of logical sense in terms of the organisation of the programme, because the first match on the show was Ludwig Kaiser. Before that, we had a quick interview with Sheamus and Jackie Redmond. Talked about how people like Ludwig Kaiser and Pete Dunne are trying to make a name for themselves at his expense. But bring it on, he says. And then he says, Baltimore, are you ready for a banger? And they were. And they brawled outside the ring before the match started. That bastard Ludwig Kaiser. Oh, I think my ribs are hurting again. Psych! Yeah. Cheap shots him. Does the running around the ring for a drop. Nice to have him back, wasn't it? Yeah. Drop kicks into the steel steps. Sheamus just beats the count. Kaiser, for some reason, thinks he can do the 10 beats of the Bodrum. He can't. Sheamus sort of no-sold some chops after that. Headbutt, right hands, axe handle, corner clothesline, backbreaker, white noise, 2 count. He puts him in a cloverleaf. Kaiser gets a rope break. Kaiser tries to fight back, and Sheamus is like, here's how you do the 10 beats of the Bodrum, mate, and just smashes the crap out of him. Flying clothesline to the outside. At that point, Pete Dunne appears in an attempt to attack Sheamus with the shillelagh again, but he dodged it and hit him with a knee strike. We talk more about Sheamus and Pete Dunne on the NXT preview podcast. That allowed Kaiser to recover. Obviously, he caught Sheamus with a running kick, but he kicks out, and Sheamus hits a knee strike and the bro kick for the 1-2-3. The match you expected, but I'm not saying that as a negative, really. Really hard hitting. Ludwig Kaiser, I think, might be underrated, actually. Like, this is not the first TV match he's had that just has a bit more spice to it than your standard WWE formula time filler. There's a couple that I can think of elsewhere on the show, match-wise. Kaiser makes it count bell to bell. I would have maybe I see what you're saying about the arrangement of the match because Kaiser had been out there with Gunther. I would have maybe used the time to replay Pete Dunne's video from NXT and have that out there on Raw for the first time. For those that don't watch NXT, I mean, I'm sure you watch us review NXT, but Pete Dunne's kind of explained it all away on Tuesdays without ever really giving the full deal on the Monday. And the Sheamus interview was an element of that, but I probably would have gone with the Pete Dunne and said I think he was the one that needed like the building up rather than Sheamus in the pre-match. Like a minor quibble, but just a minor one because I thought the match was tremendous and I like this Sheamus Pete Dunne stuff as well. I think they've reached a nice point between those two where if it is Berlin, it's yet another match that just seems perfect for that card.
And Sheamus getting a win just after we've seen Gunther out there. I'm not suggesting it's going to be a big show that he challenges
we're going to get
the world title for, but
definitely. We're definitely
you know what you're going to get when those two get in the ring together.
That's it, yeah.
Another lovely note on this show was there was a Wyatt 6 video package interspersed with Wyatt family stuff because 11 years ago in Baltimore, it was where they debuted. I didn't realise that.
I honestly just thought this was a choice made by WWE in order to try and up the rating on Sci-Fi because obviously they had to move there for a couple of weeks. The fact that there's a bit of like corporate synergy with being on Sci-Fi and it's these kind of characters, but that added detail, maybe it was just going to happen regardless of where it was. Like, I can't find Raw. I can't find Monday Night Raw, regardless of what channel it was on. Maybe that was the real reason, to use WhatCulture parlance as to why it was here.
We talked a lot on the preview yesterday about everyone wanting to get out there and have their say about what happened at SummerSlam. And here comes Damian Priest, marches down to the ring, tells Finn Balor to come out and catch this beating like a man. He's fully fledged babyface now. We talked about the fact he's been listed internally as such, and this just backed it up. The crowd fully behind him. He says, Balor, you're not a prince. You're a backstabbing coward and a pendejo. Finn, you know about me, you know my history, you know where I'm from, you know my story, you know I've been on my own most of my life, and then I found the Judgment Day. They made me feel like I belonged. They had a big chair. And then last Friday, premiere of my documentary, I realised my family got a whole lot bigger. And he does it's one of those things where, like, I distinctly remember on, like, Tough Enough or whatever, someone cut a promo and they did some, like, gesticulating to the non-existent crowd, and they're like, that's what it's about, and it feels very cliched, but he did it, and everyone's like, we are your family, Damian, that's right. Got a great reaction. So he introduces Finn to his new family. He says, look, I'm not pissed only because you took the title from me. I can win that back, and I like the fact that he said that. He's not bothered about, he is obviously bothered about losing the title, but he's like, I'm not bothered because I can win it back. And you took it from not just me, though, he says. You took it from them. I'm not going to let that stand. He says, listen closely, Finn. When you're suffering, know that I am the reason for your pain. Get out here and let the beatings begin. But Balor doesn't come out. He appears on the screen in a dark room. He says, you brought this on yourself. I didn't betray you. You betrayed us. The Judgment Day wasn't meant to have a leader, and everything changed when you won the title. And he references the fact that a year ago, Balor lost at SummerSlam, and Priest told him to man up. Well, he waited a whole year, and he manned up. He screwed Priest and his family. He's from the streets, is he? Well, now he's a loser from the streets, which is such a great crap line from a heel. From the streets, are you? A loser from the streets.
if anything.
I'm not going to fight you, but someone will, who's earned it and deserves it. JD McDonough. What? He says he's going to wait, Finn. He's going to wait till he feels safe and comfortable, and he's almost forgotten about him. When his back's turned, he's going to be there to stab him again and again and again. And it won't just be him. And
Oh my God.
we zoom out to see the Judgment Day. Oh! Knobhead edition. Because it is Finn, Carlito, can't believe his luck. I've got an Apple. Who cares? They've got PS5, I reckon. JD McDonough and Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan. And Priest just marches through to the back after seeing this.
I know, like, in the whatever remains of the clubhouse, the lighting was purple, but I painted my walls white watching this.
Oh my.
Oh my God! Right,
God.
It feels like every segment, right? I thought when Raw started, you know what? I think that Gunther and Randy Orton might be my favorite wrestlers, but in fact, Damian Priest is my favorite wrestler, right? Until Finn Balor spoke, and then he was my favorite wrestler. What an unbelievable 10 minutes of television this was? I'll work backwards. The new Judgment Day are f***ing rats, right? Just an awful vibe around these total bastards, right? And my God, would that be proven effective later on in the show? Cannot wait to get to that.
I was like, I'm going to wait until you least expect it. An hour and a half from now, probably.
Just the pullback and reveal of the new version of the group. Liv and Dom look...
I hate all of you.
Yeah, Liv and Dom look amazing together right out the gate. As you pointed out, Carlito, like, just the cat that's got the cream. Like, oh, cool. The cat that's got the PS5. Right? The payoff, obviously, of the Finn Balor is the mastermind. Finn and Liv have done it.
Yeah.
Finn and Liv have done it. They've brought all this together. I was hopeful
when I saw the footage of them arriving on X last night.
Fantastic, right? And like such a reward. Again, we said this with SummerSlam. WWE TV is not the most complicated thing to follow, but if you do follow it, when you get rewarded, it feels fantastic. And this reveal was like a reward all in one of seeing this new version of the group together.
You know, sometimes you see a stable and they're heels or whatever, but you're like, they're all heels, but you know, Chad Gable's new stable is not a great example because I'm talking about normally when they first debut, but like Chad Gable's new heel stable, you go, one day, Julius Creed's going to turn babyface and everyone's going to love him for it. Not a chance with any of these people. I hate all of them. I'll hate them all forever.
I was mourning with SummerSlam, like, oh my God, like what you need for this generational run of well-booked babyfaces is a perfect heel stable. Who's going to replace the Judgment Day? Turns out it's the Judgment Day.
Yeah.
Like, amazing stuff, right? And yeah, they might look right now like little rats, but like, of course... Like, it takes 1 week where, like, Finn Balor and JD McDonough as tag champions get to be booked as dominant. Carlito.
Yeah, they're the tag champs. I forgot that until JD referenced it later.
Carlito can be daft in the back when he goes out there and he shows, like, his nasty side in the ring or something like that. Dominic, even, like, as a complete coward, is a perfect heel for the countless run of baby faces because they just want to get him and they can't get their hands on. He's this, like, slithering snake figure as, again... beautifully executed in the physical stuff later on, which we will get to. So that was perfection. But so too was the Damian Priest promo. So the entire run-up against Gunther, when you're thinking, well, Gunther's going to win the belt. I kind of want to see the match. I'm quite into this Priest babyface turn, but like, what's going to really get us there? And what was it? It was this idea that Damian Priest was finally letting us all in at this incredibly hard start in life he's had, and Gunther just showing no respect for it whatsoever. But wrestling is a show that never ends. So why does that detail about Damian Priest's life really matter? Not for the Gunther program, as it turns out. It was just a lovely added ingredient. What that matters for is to justify the existence of a documentary that he attends and realizes for the first time, there's quite a bond between me and this audience. I'm not just fighting for me and this belt, I'm fighting for them. And then the first time he's awoken by this new reason for being, Finn Balor, his best mate, screws him.
Yeah.
So he takes that new reason for being and he brings it to Monday Night Raw and he cuts what in another building, in another time, in another story could be seen as corny, trash, love me, like kind of grabby promo material. But no, it's been earned by all those stages that have come before it. Everything that has been laid out from the start of the Damian Priest Gunther story has led to this moment, and fans subconsciously can think, oh yeah, I never really thought about that before, but now I do. Why? It's because they're planted seeds. It's going to force you to show so much faith in the next step, and the next step, and the next step. This is absolute process trusting 101, and it's out the ass in WWE at the moment. There's loads of it on this show. So like, whilst I love just how much I already hate this new Judgment Day, I earnestly appreciate the fantastic continuity that got us to this point. And continuity in quality like that gets you big pops when you give them payoffs. And we got...
No, not do it yet.
A pretty big one later on. So, yeah, Damian Priest, my new favourite wrestler.
Speaking of continuity, something that in the moment I thought, well, I'll barely need to remember that for the review. Bronson Reed confronts Postman Pierce backstage and he says, why haven't I got a match tonight? I beat Sheamus last week and he's fighting out there. And Pierce sort of tries to fob him off and Reed's like, I guess I'm going to have to create my own path to the top. And I thought, okay.
I don't want to ruin the mood or anything, but I cannot be just buzzing about all these favourite wrestlers and I'd like Bronson Reed come and kill the vibe, so it's probably best we just move on.
Okay. 2, Lyra Valkyria versus Shayna Baszler. It went to a DQ. Interference, of course, because you've got the rest of the Ministry of Starkness out there, Sonya Deville and Zoe Stark. Valkyria fights off some interference, hit Baszler with a finisher, but Deville and Stark immediately dive in, DQ, and the heels attack Lyra until Damage Control run out to make the save.
Yes, jury is still out, I think, on the Damage Control babyface turn. More effort needs to be made, but we are not the only ones at this point to observe this continued trend for women's trios and them kind of, in the absence of actual storylines, there's 3 of you, there's 3 of us, let's have a match. If that's going to be where the mood is, then maybe it is time to start speculating on new belts being made.
Right, what time is it? Well, apparently, according to the Final Testament, the clock has just struck midnight. So,
you know what Karen Cross says to the concept of time? Off.
Tonight, the authors of pain will put an end to the New Day. The New Day have been pillars in this business, but all good things must come to an end. Nelly Furtado?
Yes. Nelly for Testament. She should have done Lyra Valkyria's theme.
She should.
Olive Morgan's. I'm going through a whole back catalogue at this point.
She's got some bangers, hasn't she?
Yeah, I like Nelly Furtado.
Yeah. The real tragedy is it didn't have to be this way for Woods, and there's footage of like Kofi winning big ones and Xavier just being there, basically. He's saying Kofi carved his own path. He became the man. Woods has been too afraid to become his own man. History will remember he's just the man standing next to the man. Didn't have to be this way. He gave Woods opportunity after opportunity, more than I've been given. But Woods chose, and tonight we're going to see the death of the New Day.
Yeah.
Or so he thought.
Well, indeed, yeah. Once again, Karen Cross is on the slow road to losing a storyline. He's going to then pretend he won.
Yeah.
Well, payoff later.
Ivy now meets with the Creed brothers, and she's sort of going, what's going on there? And then Maxine Dupri shows up, and Ivy now says, going off with you two. And Maxine's like, what have you been up to? And why are you chatting to them two? They've been attacking Otis and Akira Tozawa for weeks, and Niall's like, no, they've got a bit of an edge to them. They've got a switch that goes off sometimes. Chad Gable appears and goes, off, Maxine, basically. He says, you can keep Alpha Academy. I don't want it. It's dirt. Watch me and the Creeds beat the Wyatt 6 later. It's a great knobhead, isn't he?
Yeah. Was there a clue here in the attire? Because Ivy Nyla was in blue and black. And, I mean, Jesus Christ, like on any given week, a new stable debut with matching outfits would enough for me to be like, 5-star Raw, best of the year.
Yeah.
But it was like, the cherry on the icing of 16 cakes by the time we hit the 2-hour 50 mark. Same colour scheme as what we would see. He gave away American Alpha because American made. Oh, my God.
Oh my
As
God.
the stable name is terrific.
Now we get the low point of the show, just CM Punk coming out to one of the biggest reactions of the night.
That pop, man, he's my new favourite wrestler.
And a nice touch, actually. He congratulated Bilal Muhammad on his UFC title win.
And I joined this crowd in that. Didn't exactly feel like the audience in attendance were up on the TKO corporate synergy. Who's that?
Beat Leon Edwards. Who's that? It's brilliant.
Was that on SummerSlam? God, I didn't see it.
He just said he likes seeing good things happen to good people. And he's in a good mood. He's pretty chipper, despite what happened at SummerSlam, because he's in Baltimore for the first time in 10 years, and he couldn't help but feel good hearing the fans chant his name. And they bloody did after he just said that.
I would.
But he says, look, losing doesn't make me happy, but SummerSlam wasn't a guarantee. Neither is the Raw afterwards in Baltimore. People love him because he didn't stay down. Some in the company hate him because of that. And just talks about when he made his monumental return, it was all taken away from him because he's in a good mood. He was told he would recover in 9 months. He did it in 5. Drew McIntyre hurt him. That happens, but he gloated about it. He made it personal. Punk's happy to be back because for some people, their road to WrestleMania began in January, but not him. His summer of hate didn't start the way he wanted, but he noted it's still summer. And the fans deserve less CM Punk talking and more CM Punk fighting.
Yeah.
He wants McIntyre again. McIntyre claimed he wouldn't stop until Punk's heart stopped, but his heart's still beating and his blood's still pumping. But then he's interrupted by Seth Rollins wearing all black. Want to take this one?
Well, yeah, I thought that because there was so much discussion around Seth Rollins dressing as Shawn Michaels as a referee, that the black frilly number mirrored what Diesel wore when he first arrived in WWE, like all the like leather, the whole deal. But, and I was happy enough with that. Dudes with attitude, Seth is fine by me. But you might have stumbled upon another comparison.
Well, it's Punk, and he says I'll get to it. Rollins comes out, takes off his shades, takes off his jacket. Rollins said, "We're both in a good mood because." Sorry. Was Punk interrupted by Seth saying something, or was it like? Well, he says, "I want to fight McIntyre," and then you, of course, hear.
It's like an eclipse, man. You can't look directly at it.
They're both happy, though, because after 10 long years, it's time for him to put Punk in the dirt. And Punk says, "I'm not the one that dressed like a cowboy today."
Mm-hmm. Yep. I was thinking one thing, and then when I hear you, I'm thinking another thing. And
yeah.
My old favorite and my current. Yeah.
My ex and my sex.
I remember a different company that someone didn't want me to be in, but he says,
"Silence in the building." What, UFC? That one you just mentioned? There's two companies.
"I'll be your Huckleberry. Let's go." But Drew McIntyre interrupts. I really like this from Drew. Gays, what's all this negativity about?
Chill out.
Take a chill pill.
It's great to be Drew.
He was just so happy, obviously.
He's my new favourite wrestler.
He says, "I'm going to talk about your favourite topic, CM Punk." CM Punk.
Do you get it?
He gloats about beating him. He gloats about Rollins being the one to count the fall. He said, "Look, you prove you still got it in the ring, but you're no longer best in the world. I am." And he holds up the bracelet, and it's got your stupid-looking dog Larry and your wife on there. Punk's like, because Punk's ready to fight Seth at this point. But the moment the bracelet gets brought up again, he's like, out the ring, through the crowd. Obviously, McIntyre bails. And pause time in that moment. I was like, okay, so we're getting Drew Punk again. Mm-hmm. Bad blood, as we found out now. It's going to be a Hell in a Cell, which...
Oh, my God.
Really looking forward to that one. But we were speculating on what was going to happen next. I'd booked Drew against Gunther and said, Seth and Punk. And then so he booked Bales. They haven't set up any sort of triple threat. Mm. And you're like, oh, okay. Well, what about Seth? Well, that was answered the next second, because whilst Rollins is just looking up at Punk chasing Drew out of the building, he is suddenly attacked by Bronson Reed, who batters him. There's like a Death Valley driver in there, I think. A couple of sentons, a tsunami. Hang on, I'm going to get my button ready. Another tsunami, and the officials come out, and you're like, okay, kind of...
Two tsunamis, leave it.
Yeah. And I do like it when anyone does this, and they're like, I've not had enough. Reed runs back to the ring. Another tsunami.
You're joking. Not another one?
5 tsunamis, which, I mean, look at what it's that bloke from the top rope each time landing on Seth Rollins.
More bodies in the ring having to scatter the better.
Every time they're like, get away. Don't hate him, but I'm not getting in the way of this.
Yep.
Rollins is spitting up blood. There's a perfectly like a white pristine towel to really make it show up as well. And he also doubled back again. And this is the one time when they went, let's just roll Rollins out the ring. It's probably the safest thing to do here. Where's this Bronson Reed come from?
I don't know. He's my new favourite wrestler.
Yeah.
The crowd, I sort of felt a little bit of sympathy for Seth, which I'm supposed to. He's the babyface getting killed out there. But even the crowd felt surprised at what they were seeing, because when they were going like, one more time, this like bloodlust that Bronson Reed has unearthed in them all. Incredible. I saw Sean Ross Sapp, I think, call it one of the best one night character repeating jobs he's ever seen. I think
Alvarez was loving it on Twitter as well.
I would totally agree. Has anyone been critical of this? This was amazing. I don't know if Bronson Reed has still got loads beyond whatever this Seth Rollins program proves to be, but Christ Almighty, you're going to give him a few more chances to try. Mm-hmm. Incredible. And I want to put over everybody involved in this, from the moment CM Punk comes out to the moment Bronson Reed is forced to leave. Because, Punk's promo was obviously fantastic. Of course it was. You believed everything he was saying. Then Seth Rollins comes out and he just going, oh, my God, we're going to get to it right now because you want to see that's mania-worthy. Yeah. It's happening in front of you. You were told by a documentary it was mania-worthy, and it's happening in front of you. And then Drew's out, and Drew's patter out the ass. Like, just incredible. Like, of course he would be just riding high off the back of SummerSlam. Completely shifts the dynamic of the feud now as we head in the long road to Hell in a Cell. And then, yes, as you say, Seth with nothing to do, you're not even really given time to wonder what that might be before Bronson Reed comes out. And, oh, my God, I'm going to say it again, continuity. Bronson Reed already with a chip on his shoulder because it was Seth Rollins all that time ago when he was supposed to be getting the title match against him at Elimination Chamber, but Seth was hurt and was needing to get back in time for WrestleMania. So very much just, out of the way, Bronson Reed just loses out, doesn't he? Basically, on a title match on a stage that could have been his. So it's probably been sitting there with him, and when he's basically almost called Adam Pearce's bluff with the sheer violence that he's like enacted here, Pearce might have said, that old Undertaker, go on, kid, make yourself famous. But then he would have been, not famous. Mate, just taking on my top guy, mate. Like, so that's like a really cool device as a way to either like Bron Breakker did, get suspended and be seen as an even bigger threat than he is, or sort of say, look, I did what you asked me to do. Now allow me to prove it in a proper way, put me in the match, and the graphic is just there. Bash at Berlin, probably. Yeah. Like, huge pay-per-view match out of nowhere. This was a heavy heat segment. This was like I wouldn't say it was quite on the level, but in the same way that Mariah May and Toni Storm needed to be as hot as it was to get that match feel as big as it was at Wembley when the graphic revealed. They've done that here in one night with Bronson Reed. If you haven't, people watch us and sometimes don't watch Raw. If you're not predisposed to watch WWE, find this segment isolated online and let the noise do the talking, because that crowd couldn't believe what they were seeing. Neither could any of us. Seth Rollins, presumably, as he was looking up and seeing himself get splashed 5 times, couldn't believe what he was seeing and having to live through. Like, I don't feel like I've seen beatdowns like this from a heel since I was a kid. Genuinely, like a heel that is just dominating a star in a way that you weren't expecting. Doesn't stop, he's already dead. Just doesn't happen that much anymore, especially one like a star like a Bronson Reed who feels like he's burnt out, truthfully. Yeah. Like, he's ran out of lives, and all of a sudden he's not even reborn, he's being himself, and that character you thought long dead has just suddenly never felt more alive. Yeah. A remarkable piece of television, quite honestly. Afterwards, again, one more thing. I apologize. I just keep going and the thing is now, where he's just like this new bull of the wolves. Like, there's you've got this big guy. You can't get any more big guys on Raw. Immediately afterwards, Jackie Redmond asked Postman Pierce for an update on Rollins. Pierce says, "Doesn't look good." I think he said, "I think there might be internal bleeding." I was like, "Think so, do you?" I think you've made 2 mistakes in your job as the boss of the show tonight, Adam, and that's the second one. And Punk storms through, and he's like, "Where's Drew?" And he's like, "I've already got him out of the building because it has to roll on until next week." That's it. Sounds good to me. And then we got Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, the New Day versus the Authors of Pain, with Karrion Kross, Scarlett, and Paul Ellering there at ringside as well. I mean, we can't love the New Day anymore. Yeah. And then they come out as the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Incredible. And with those amazing... hit the button.
Oh my God.
Oh, wait a minute, right. Push the button first for the wrestler Turtles. I'm a Raphael guy. You're a Donatello guy. I was like Donatello as well. Mint moment there. Yeah, push the button for the Turtles, please.
Oh my God.
Now push the button for Roman Reigns as Shredder.
Oh my God.
Have you seen this, Nicholas? Oh, no. So the Shredder, he's got that spiky hand. It's the Red Bloodline glove. Ah, nice. Yeah. I'm going to keep looking this up. What? Who the Turtles are? Oh my God. Cody's one of them, Ray. I do not find. You mean there's an actual toy? There's a line of toys. Yeah, that's what this is all set up to. I don't think the Bebop and Rocksteady stand a chance against these Turtles. They're rubbish.
Well, John Cena is literally one of them in the new animated.
Is it? Wasn't Sheamus one of Bebop and Rocksteady as well? Bebop.
Yeah.
Reebok and Boxsteady. Reebok and Nike Steady, is it? Yes, Seth's one, Cody's one, Ray's the other one. Oh, can you imagine a ring shape? Look at him there, look, coming out of the... Oh, coming out of the sewers. I'd love a ring-shaped blimp. I'd love that blimp. And Kevin Nash, of course, the original Super Shredder from Turtles 2. I feel like people will be screaming that I don't say that, so I'm going to say that out loud.
On the eve of WrestleMania, an experiment gone wrong switches the minds of Leonardo, Donatello, Michelangelo, and Raphael with WWE superstars Rey Mysterio, Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, and Seth freaking Rollins. Meanwhile, Casey Jones learns that he's in the main event as the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes against Roman Reigns, who is now possessed by Shredder. Can the Turtles win this radical rumble before the shred of the table dominates WWE?
Oh my god.
The shred of the table!
That's so good. I've just seen it as well. Oh my god.
Look at him.
That, like,
Wow, what do you get them all now? But
the shred of the table.
The Office, honest. Shred of the
That is, oh, he's got a cape with his logo on.
Seen it, man. I'm looking. I'm literally looking.
Can you see that on the screen?
Unbelievable. Hang on.
Oh, God.
Oh my god.
I was aware of this, but not. Jesus Christ.
It's not like cynical sponsored content. This is not this thing where like WWE have said, can you bury a Turtles ad in between the Millie podcast?
Can you ask them for some tails?
Can we have some Turtles for the office, please? Not like real life Turtles.
From the megas, not from the fans. I mean,
Can we have, yeah. Who Hasbro, Mattel, whoever makes these, can we have some fed Turtles sent to the office ASAP, please? I want the Shredder Roman Reigns really, really badly.
Yeah. It'd be pride of place on our set, wouldn't it, Nat?
God, yes, on the set. Yeah.
Right, so Donatello's got the stick, hasn't he?
Yeah.
That's Xavier Woods. Who's got the nunchucks?
Michelangelo.
That is Kofi.
Raphael's got the dagger, but it's called something else, isn't it?
Them ones.
Got
Oh,
two
yeah,
daggers.
with the things.
Yeah.
3-pronged on them. John
Yes.
Moxley's got one on them.
Fork.
Yes.
He's got a big fork.
Big fork. Yeah, Raphael's got the forks. And Leonardo's got the knife. No, salt.
Fork and a knife.
Fork and knife and a spoon.
Anyway,
Teenage Turtles eating dinner.
Twin size.
eating pizza as well.
Dinner in a restaurant. Turtle power.
Didn't they make pizza look like the greatest food?
Oh, when like they'd eat it and it'd stretch. Like that.
Pizza, made pizza.
Well, yeah, granted. There's a match. Sorry, I've just remembered we were talking about wrestling.
Yeah, get past this.
Kingston super kicked Razor, got hit with the spine buster, take us to a break, and we come back. Xavier Woods comes in, cleans house, and everything breaks down, but Karrion Kross interferes. Scarlett jumps up to take the ref. Karrion Kross, cheap shot, and you think, here we go. Who will save the New Day? And I'll be honest, we could have time to play the game a million times and would have not landed on Odyssey Jones.
That's my new favourite wrestler.
Odyssey Jones. Remember that draft about a year and a half ago?
Yeah. Remember that other draft?
Yeah. Try to draft him again.
Oh, yeah, 0 appearances, but he's 0 defeats. So we'll take him for the year, please.
He comes out, takes out Cross. Which, fine enough, Woods gets their roll up on Razor. Mm-hmm. You're like, okay.
Yeah.
If there's a one-night thing, that's fine. AOP go, well, I'm going to kill Xavier Woods then. Odyssey Jones goes, not on my watch. You know, he comes in. You'll see this on the WWE thing where it's like, it's Odyssey Jones and this. I think you see the photos or the video of that. The top reply is a tiny screenshot of the guy in a white shirt in the crowd who's just like, because it's the bit where he's hitting the double sidewalk slam on Akon and Razor, and people are like, how have you done that? And the New Day quite rightly celebrate with Odyssey Jones, who finally has made his debut on the main roster.
The double sidewalk, like, it's Ross with the couch, isn't it? We're going to pick him up. Or the car. It's when they're trying to lift a car. We're going to lift and slide. He's picking him up. This
I want to just go over him coming out and go, that's Odyssey Jones.
This was unbelievable. I mean, yeah.
Oh my god.
I'm sat there and I've got nothing left. And then backstage next.
It's not, but JD McDonough's promos, but
Yeah,
let's skip ahead. Because Kofi Kingston's got the champers out. Way, Odyssey Jones!
Just like we always said we were going to do.
Not Odyssey Jones. He's just like, I'm happy to help, obviously.
This has gone well.
Yeah. And he's like, Xavier Woods, Odyssey Jones. And Xavier Woods, a bit like the rest of us, to be honest, goes, I didn't know you were mates. And that can be explained away because Kofi Kingston says they became friends at the Performance Center.
Yeah.
And Kingston went to him saying, I think we might need some help against the Final Testament.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all like, that's how that came about. Way! And there's just a little moment with Xavier where he's not as happy as everyone else is. There's immediately that's blown away because Alpha Academy comes in, Akira Tozawa does some dancing, they all dance along. All is still not well though.
Like a phenomenal debut and a genuinely fantastic storyline development. Maybe the first ever. Is this the first ever believable crack in the New Day?
Yeah.
You know when we would say, we would kind of call Karen Cross stupid. It's like, for a guy that plays mind games, I think your age range is 1 to 3 because like you're playing the stupidest ones there are.
I'm playing mind games and here's my 6-piece jigsaw for you. See if you can figure it out.
It's mind games. It's Twister with no spinny thing. Like they just walk on the dots. Oh, I win.
Snakes and ladders, but it's all ladders. So how are you going to do that? Well,
we've updated Connect 4. It's Connect 1. You win. Like, you're not going to break up the New Day.
No.
Nothing you can do can break these up. Oh, wait a minute. Like, what you've actually done is getting Xavier Woods' head enough that the first sign that you should feel a sense of jealousy or concern or anything like that, you've just picked away, and now a situation has occurred that's got nothing to do with you.
No.
Karen Cross has nothing to do with, like, I'm assuming. He's like, it was my plan all along to get the OP getting their asses kicked. I win again. Like...
Paul Ellering.
Yeah, we got him carrying. Like, nothing to do with him.
No.
But the Xavier Woods element absolutely is. Like, pack. And now this occurs.
What's that look on your face, Xavier? What?
Now this occurs and he's sort of, oh, mate, like... And again, it's that wrestler thing where we're, as fans, going, this is great. Shit, like, I'm glad the party's gotten bigger and better, if anything. But Woods is not. And Kofi and Odyssey Jones' relationship, perfectly explained, as you've said. Like, a totally justifiable reason. Kofi, justifiable in his decision-making. We're getting our asses handed to us. There's a numerical
I got injured.
Yeah, like, we don't know when he's coming back. I've got somebody. This is the perfect solution to the problem, isn't it? And then, obviously, over time, we're going to see that Woods doesn't think so. Terrific.
Was it 16 months we said on the news after he was drafted?
Yeah.
Well, his last match at least.
I want to see them fight like Final Testament, like a 6-man now. I want to see them versus American Made. I want to see WWE bring in a version of Reebok and Nike Steady just to take a run at them. I don't think there's any baddies these three can't take down.
Yeah, just amazing stuff.
Just...
I'm annoyed. I'm genuinely annoyed I'm not here on Monday, and you're not here as well either, are you? So we can say, what's next for Odyssey Jones?
I just...
Never thought I'd write. Like, I assume when he got called up, I know he didn't work, but I assume he's been on a main roster pay since he was drafted.
Yeah.
And it's been worth it for that double sidewalk slam for me.
Yeah, that's it.
I was just like, oh, Odyssey Jones is the best.
Raw Robot, are you the best talent scout ever? I think you might be. Yeah, I'm absolutely gutted about next week. Not that I can't review
Wacky
this.
summer continues.
Yeah, not that I can't review the show because I'm on a family holiday. I'm gutted for my family because on Tuesday morning we're not going to be going down to the pool or the hotel breakfast. We're going to be watching Monday Night Raw, kids. Yeah, real.
In amongst all this, we had a really good pre-tape promo from JD McDonough as well, who says, you're only champion as long as you was thanks to us, the Judgment Day. I sacrificed myself for you and you never even wanted me in the group. Balor trusted me, though.
Amazing continuity.
And he's such a sneering little twat. I'm in the Judgment Day now and you're not. And I'm a champion and you're not. Oh, I'm going to punch you through the fucking screen.
My head's massive and yours is regular size.
Great.
Like, Damian Priest really didn't trust. That was a very sort of like, that was a tipping point for Damian Priest as being obvious babyface when all of this shakes down, was JD McDonough's inclusion in this group. I just fucking love it. Damian Priest wanted R-Truth to stick around, didn't he, Nicholas? You make a good point. Like, some of us very much appreciated R-Truth's time in the Judgment Day. Bought him a new telly. This stable, right...
It's right up there, isn't it?
It is right up there. I'm telling you.
You even got memes out because people were sort of feeling sorry for themselves about the loss of the Judgment Day Interrupts meme.
Yeah. When Punk did the Judgment Day Interrupts at WrestleMania, when Damian Priest interrupted the beatdown to cash in, I might
have to watch that back again.
I might have to do like some sort of, I think somebody asked for this in the SummerSlam
Yes.
review, I might just do it as a labour of love. It might not even make it to whatculture.com. Like the Judgment Day, the greatest stable of all time. Like you might not ever see it as a video or an article, but I might just do it.
It'd just
out.
be a Twitter thread.
Yeah, just sharing my joy.
Yeah, we'll make some money off that. Yeah.
And let us never forget
I'll be away with it.
the origin story of the Judgment Day, the night that Damian Priest revealed his alliance with Edge at WrestleMania 38. Edge walked to the ring where a fan had been holding a sign in a prime spot all night that said words to the effect of, WWE's the best. And he turned the sign around as Edge got off his big chair. It was Edge's shit. Apologise, because that was day one.
It turns out this is awesome. Was a little,
They were
ahead
right.
of its time.
Two bits of the letter missing and space. Edge is a hit.
The fans love me. They really love.
WWE is best. We've been popping at that sign all night. Right? It's like, well, there's only one wrestler that's getting unleashed on.
The only highlight of that match, by the way.
Yeah.
Right, R-Truth and The Miz versus Eitan Denanda. I've read this somewhere on X. Rock and Roll Express moves from R-Truth.
Aye, nice touch.
Lovely, that.
SummerSlam, yeah.
Miz has got the match won, basically, at one point, but R-Truth's like, I'll take it from here. Gets Grayson Waller up for an A and knocks Miz out of the ring. Grayson Waller isn't even the legal man. There he hits Truth Eitan down. And wins. And there was a bit where I thought for a split second, is Miz going to turn on R-Truth here? They're not doing that yet, but it's coming, isn't it?
I was going to say.
Ricky Snorton.
It's just like, it was me earlier on, and I painted the walls white. It's like, Triple H is like, wait a second, I can tease two tag teams breaking up at the same time.
It was. I don't know why it's such a funny. It's because it's truth in it. Miz.
And it's always the same with like Miz, but after it especially, it's like Miz is like, I can't believe you'd be so stupid. Really, Miz?
It's like I can understand that Miz turned on because he's like, I put up with your bollocks for quite a while, but we did get us the tag titles. But
Yeah.
now it's just ridiculous. This. Right, a pre-tape promo from Priest in response to JD McDonough. Saying, Balor was literally the only person who wanted you in the Judgment Day. You've got a small brain with someone such a big head. Not a good line.
Got him.
And he basically said, you're being sent by Balor to get the first bullet. I'm going to kick your ass.
Yeah.
And send you to hell, all that. And then Kathy Kelly interviews Braun Breaker. And Braun talks about how everyone likes to talk about how long they've held the title, how many days, how many years, blah, blah, blah. Well, it's been under 3 years since he debuted on WWE TV. It took him less than 3 years to win the IC title. He's the hunter as far as he's concerned. Everyone else is the hunted. He feels sorry for everyone else. He's coming for everyone. A lot of people thought he was born for this moment, but he wasn't. The title was born for him. And he shows us the nameplate and says, no man is going to take my name off this title.
A smart week to do a smart thing, this, because Bronson Reed, Odyssey Jones are maybe not going to make the impact they do if Braun Breaker, as the new Intercontinental Champion and the more established badass on Raw, goes out and just destroys somebody. Does it at 100 miles an hour, does it looking super dominant. But no, it was just a promo that you believed, that you bought, because you know this Braun Breaker and you know that he buys it and he believes it. And in the meantime, it left space for these other new monsters on Raw to go for the week. Spot on.
Now, I mentioned this on the news, and I was going to elaborate on it here, because I just remembered. So Samantha Irvin posted a photo on ahead of Raw. Mm-hmm. Tell me if I'm reading too much into this, right? Okay. Because he says...
I've seen this post. Have you got this post here?
Yeah. Says, no one's going to take my name off the title. Later on, we're going to get to a bit where Sami Zayn confirms next week's 2 out of 3 Falls rematch. Mm-hmm. Samantha Irvin just tweeted, long game. Is there any bit of you that thinks that is alluding to Ricochet playing the long game and waiting to really cost Braun Breaker when he returns?
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe I've read too much into that.
I don't know.
Maybe I'm too into it right now.
I mean, you're on a good run at the moment.
Let me just read the comments, see if anyone else is agreeing with me on this. No, not many people referencing the return of Ricochet in this.
No, I don't imagine they are they?
No, there's some comments that would have worked on a previous Raw feature, let me tell you.
Yeah, maybe the OTJ needs to do a bit more digging on that one. Maybe in his own time.
But
maybe with his own laptop rather than a work one.
Tell you what is a current Raw feature that we haven't actually done yet. I don't want to give you the creeps or anything, but it's now time for the Raw Riddle.
Raw Riddle does give me the creeps.
But has it been taxing your noggin with this?
No.
Over the past 24 hours, we give you the question on the Raw preview and the answer on the Raw review. But the riddle, what can you catch but not throw?
Cold.
Well, some people online did say feelings, but...
Hey! Oh, my noggin was really taxed.
Good.
I'm glad actually it was quite an easy one this week because like Raw was so intellectually challenging that I needed all the brain space I could get.
Damian Priest versus JD McDonough, a match that went to DQ and I couldn't have cared less.
This was unreal.
So Priest obviously kicks his ass.
Yeah.
But Carlito's out there. He's been persuaded to leave the PS5 for 10 minutes. And that allows a couple of times McDonough to take over. At one point he posts Damian Priest. I haven't seen that for a while. Hits a suicide dive. He did it a nice moonsault after the break, did JD McDonough. And of course, the crowd, JD sucks. Priest comes back, flatliner, no sells, McDonough slaps, elbow strike, Falcon Arrow. McDonough rolls to the outside, so Priest just sort of pounced him over in the announce table.
Brilliant.
That's good. I'm going to give him one of them. I like that.
Oh my God.
Rolls him
Press
back.
the button again for the atmosphere at this point, by the way.
Yeah.
It's a total fever pitch.
Rolls him back in the ring, hits a clothesline, kicks Carlito off the apron, sets up for a South of Heaven choke slam. Here comes, by this time, he'd wait until he's forgotten all about him. Here comes Finn Balor to attack him from the DQ. And then Priest just sat up. And I was like, well, Undertaker 2.0's here. Everyone swarms him, of course, all the gaggle of bastards. Liv Morgan, Dom, all of them are there. But Priest fights them off, gets his hands on Balor, gets him up for Razor's Edge, but Liv Morgan pulls him off, and Finn Balor escapes. Priest gets in Liv Morgan's face, but Dom chop blocks him like a little weasel that he is.
So, like, just point here. I just want to say, like, every detail was really well thought through here. The point at which Liv Morgan interfered and Damian Priest doesn't really have time to think. He's not going to get her, obviously. But then before he can even deal with the fact that she's interfered, as you say, Dominic with a chop block.
And you're doing the maths in your head, and you're like, wait a second.
The bit when they're all holding Priest just for JD McDonough to run at him with nothing in particular.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I've all got him. It's like, get the off him. Like, there's loads of you like
So
I'm really angry.
Yeah. So Dom's chop block Priest, and the two of the disgusting new couple now attack him.
Yeah.
And then, Jesus Christ, Rhea Ripley's music hit. I mean, I popped at home, but in the arena.
Oh my God.
We were texting about this morning, of course, before we came into work.
Yeah, it appeared to me that Steve Austin and The Rock were beating up the Judgment Day because the reaction for those two when they like, it was as if the fans had allowed themselves for like 2.5 hours to forget. Wait a minute, there might be somebody that's seeing Damian's side of things a bit more.
Yeah,
like
who's got something to say off the back of SummerSlam.
It was as if she'd returned from injury all over again.
Yeah.
The response for this was unbelievable, and yet again, it was just.
I'd have even allowed her to do that.
She's got previous, and like it yet again put over just how effective this like new bond that's been built with Damian Priest and the fans is, because Rhea's kind of already been there even when she was a heel.
Yeah.
Damian Priest was like on his way to it, and tonight was going to be the acid test of if this whole thing has worked. Are you fucking kidding me, mate? The fact that like Rhea's got a pre-existing, I know I'm jumping ahead slightly, the fact that Rhea's got a pre-existing relationship with Jay now has me thinking, do we put Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley in the group of the good guys that are going to take on the bad bloodline with Roman Reigns? I think we maybe have to at this point.
Yeah.
I think we just make it a 10 on 10. Like all the goodies versus both Bloodline and Judgment Day knockoffs. Like all the best ones, all your favourite
previous
wrestlers.
agreements, of course, Bloodline and Judgment Day.
I just f***ing love the Fed, mate. Yeah?
Someone's going to isolate that, aren't they?
Good. I just f***ing love the Fed. Put it on my digital gravestone.
So, Rhea makes her entrance. Dom and Liv try to run away. But Ripley gets her hands on Liv Morgan, and she sends her into the ring post, sets her up for a razor's edge onto the table, but Dom grabs Liv Morgan, they escape, and that leaves that little weasel, JD McDonough, alone in the ring, and he's like, "You all right, Rhea?" She headbutts him, he spins round, huge choke slam, jelly roll-esque choke slam. And there's a lovely moment where Priest and Ripley hug, and the crowd are just going wild.
I think like Damian Priest just whispered in Rhea Ripley's ear, like, "We're so over." What a feeling that must have been. Just the response for this and these two. The Terror Twins, are they known because they're just mates on the road anyway. This felt so great, man. And it paid off nothing. The match didn't even have a finish. Liv Morgan didn't even get powerbombed through a table. She still got the title. The Judgment Day theoretically are dominant because it's a massive new numbers game every single week. They've got the tag belts until they lose them, and that's coming. And so am I.
Sorry, this is not it's not on Raw. This is a note on future. Roman Reigns is going to be on SmackDown on Friday. Just drop that in there, did you, WWE? By the way, the guy who blew the roof off a stadium that doesn't have a roof, he's going to be on SmackDown on Friday.
How did it become the babyface territory once again? I don't know how this has happened. I've got
a stag do this weekend. Adam, you coming out? 1 minute, boys.
Straight on SmackDown, come out.
1 minute, you'll be okay. It's Roman Reigns. First 15 minutes, we've been walking in the ring. Especially that new thing was like, can we get 5 more minutes out of the Roman Reigns thing? Well, we could go do for about a minute and a half before the music even kicks in. Perfect. No notes. You dev rebel, just when I thought you couldn't make a theme any worse. You totally redeem yourself.
Mystery of Darkness attacked Damage Control backstage and targeted Kai's knee. I do hope that was just as a way to write her out of this match and just be like, oh, now it has to be Io Sky.
Yeah, we talked about wanting that as part of the story yesterday, but I wanted it mid-match rather than beforehand. I'm a bit worried.
But Sonya, after a break, Sonya comes out and basically is like, oh, I guess no match then. But no, Io Sky comes out with Kairi Sane. First thing was someone getting run shoulder first into a ring post.
Fix this.
Sky kicks the leg out of her leg, hits a missile dropkick for 2. DeVille comes back with a knee strike. Sky hits a double knee strike in the corner, but Stark put DeVille's foot on the ropes. So Sky took out Sonya and Baszler with a moonsault, whilst Kairi Sane hit an insane elbow to Zoe Stark on the outside. And Sky hit the moonsault in the ring to get the 1-2-3 over Sonya Deville.
Yeah, I really hope sincerely that Dakota Kai's all right, but it was like, and again, I don't say this in a way that like, but if she's injured, who cares? Because I don't think that at all. But seeing this vision of the babyface Sky Pirates and the amount of flying around they were doing and how like synced up it all felt did get you, for the first time, I would say, quite excited about the possibilities of this babyface Damage Control. It needed the type of stuff they were doing out there to give it a fighting chance, because as we keep saying, they're not really booked. So it's just like the only way you're going to get over is with your wrestling. So this was the best way of doing that.
Sami Zayn's chatting to Ilya Dragunov backstage, says he's a champion who inspired others, and Zayn thanks him and says, you'll be a great champion too one day. Dragunov leaves, Jey Uso shows up, yeet. Jay's trying to cheer him up, shake it off, pick yourself up. He's like, this is a really hard pill to swallow this. You'll get your rematch, you'll get your title back. Sami's like, I've already got my rematch, it's next week, 2 out of 3 falls. I watched an entire compilation of Jey Uso corpsing on Twitter last night, which is well worth checking out, by the way.
He's ace, isn't he? He's my new favourite wrestler.
I forgot how much he corpsed when Brock Lesnar's trying to kill him with a forklift. He's like... and Jay suggests, Michael Hamflett, that maybe Sami could be a double champion after they finish their business with the Judgment Day and win the tag belts. My penis can only get so
the desk is lifting up. I cannot wait for that Raw. We have arrived at
Watch that one live?
I'm going to start watching everyone live. Cereal stocks are going to be running low at our local Aldi. Honestly, if it stays this good. Yeah, the genuinely inspired. We touched on this yesterday with Roman's return. So every time I say Roman's return, I think of Coronation Street. When Roman made his comeback before the Usos, and then he kind of go, I'm stupid, the Fed's ingenious. Him having to earn the Usos' trust and not just have the Usos as a prelude to Roman is sort of inspired, because he was a house. And like, just because we've wanted him to come back, it doesn't mean that he hasn't got a lot of apologies to make to Jimmy and Jay. So it's bad
enough when Jay went to Raw and everyone's like, why do we not want you around?
Exactly, yeah. Like, why would we not think that they would deal with that? And they are going to deal with that. And the fact it's going to be, he'll probably get Jimmy on board first. And Jimmy's better. Jimmy just wants to crack back, then he's going to be all right. But then for it to be Jay and Sami at the same time, the two people that probably took it the worst from Roman when he was at his worst, like that I need you. And Jay's like, well, you know what we need? Sorry, I didn't. You're not speak up. What? I hope there's 0 matches that week. I hope there's people with their stopwatches. I hope they swallow the stopwatches and choke on them and die.
It's the Wyatt 6 video out of the main event, this time on Joe Gacy, Huskus the pig boy, of course. And Gable cuts a promo in the back, walk into the ring with the Creeds with their blue matching gear. They've got new music and they're called American Made. And the crowd chants, "You suck" to the music.
It's such a brilliant act, isn't it?
Oh my God.
We knew they were going to lose. We knew that they were there basically to be the best wrestlers to get this Wyatt 6 act over. But they are going to be just fine, aren't they?
Shatter by Code Orange. That's what the Wyatt 6 entered to. The lights go out. There's the rocking chair. There's the lantern. Uncle Howdy's there. Big brawl to start. Obviously, Rowan, Gacy, and Loomis wrestle without their masks. And there's Uncle Howdy with Abby the Witch, Nikki Cross sat at his feet watching the whole time from the chair. Gacy cleaned house. Belly to back neck breaker on Julius. They pull, is it Loomis's hair? I think it was. Yeah. To take it back over to Chad Gable and the Creed brothers. Then Rowan comes in and just power bombs Loomis onto everyone else.
Awesome. Well, talk about this at the end, actually. Yeah.
We've been banging the drum for Rowan for so long, so it was nice that Gable's in control after a break and the crowd are just chanting, "We want Rowan." Mm-hmm. American Made all hit moonsaults. Obviously, Gable's class. Loomis breaks up the cover. Gacy comes back with a double clothesline and gets the hot tag to Rowan, who runs wild. Chucks Gable onto the barricade. There's a Brody Lee slingshot senton. Power slam. The Creeds break up that cover. Loomis wipes them out with a dive. Gable hits Rowan with a German suplex.
Oh my God.
Never get tired of seeing that suplex.
No.
That gets a 2 count. Gacy and Loomis, though, grab Julius and Brutus and uranagi them onto the announce table. Gable's all on his own. And Gacy powerbombed Loomis onto Gable. And I think Loomis hit a splash following that to get the 1, 2, 3. And they pose around the lantern to close out this excellent show.
This was so good.
Yeah.
Wyatt 6 of my new favourite wrestlers. The idea of the Dexter Loomis who wants to, you can tell just how much he wants to be physically involved and prove some doubters wrong. Doubters like me, I'm not too proud to say that I didn't think when push came to shove this was going to work when the bell rung, and not just because of the wrestlers involved, but because of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right? We've said this with every week. It's like, is this going to be the week where it doesn't quite hit, or are they going to lose the thread with it? No, it seems this match was spot on. This was everything you could have wanted and more. Yes, American Made have come in and they've lost already, but they're too good to fail.
Yeah.
They are too good to fail, American Made. I firmly believe that. If I didn't believe it already, seeing them in the matching singlets, rather than the suits.
Yeah.
Right, there they are. They're done, they're ready. This defeat was destined to happen because the Wyatt 6 are an act that really nobody's prepared for at the moment, and that's what they were trying to get across here. But yeah, in every way, all the individual components here, of the 3 in the ring at least, maybe obviously Bo Dallas is being kept away for reasons that what has he got to offer in the ring compared to these 3? I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Loomis looks like a different person.
Loomis does look like a different person. It's not just the hair, is it?
He did a bit of the Loomis, but it worked so much better as a bigger...
He moves differently.
Yeah.
He moves differently. There's extra sort of spring in his step. He's faster. This whole gimmick where it's well, what... Maybe they've just had this honest conversation and looked at his old matches and looked at the table what do you do well? And they've been like, well, not loads. Can we throw you at people? Yeah, I'll bump.
I like his hair as well.
I'll bump, yeah. I'll bump for you and it'll look great because I've got these dreads now. All right, we'll try that. And Rowan's a big enough man to believably do it.
We always knew Gacy was going to be good from his time in NXT.
How nice was it, by the way, that when Gacy used to do the upside down, it was just generic weird. Now it's like a loving tribute to a Bray Wyatt.
Yeah. I didn't think of that at the time.
Such a nice detail to bring into the matches that he already had, but now it carries so much extra weight. Rowan just being the most over man in the match feels overdue because he never really got his fair run in WWE and he was so beloved when he was be the super sub in AEW. The Brody Lee tribute was lush because all of this is a tribute, isn't it? Like, all of it is a tribute until it becomes its own thing. But it is already becoming its own thing because it's gathering pace and it's creating identity. Like, the match wasn't the best match I'll ever see, but in terms of an in-ring rollout, home run.
Yeah, absolutely. And a hell of a way to close out this show.
A pretty good episode, you know.
Let us know your thoughts.
Solid stuff.
Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below or on X at WhatCulture WWE. Watch, they can follow both of us. You can follow Michael Hamflett at
Michael Hamflett.
Follow me at Adam Wilbourn. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE. Follow our brilliant producer at It's Adam Nicholas. And make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling or wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts. The NXT preview is available right now. But for now, this has been the Raw review. My thanks to Michael Hamflett. Thank you for joining us. And we will see you soon.